It's me. Like usual, I'm gonna wait 5 minutes. So come on in, join the fun. Hello, everyone. Let me know that you're here, and let me know where you're streaming from, viewing from. One of those things. There you go. All right. Let's see where you guys are. Give me a moment. I am not at the chat. Please let me know where you are and where you're viewing from. Okay? And I will give you a shout out before I have my little rant. And yes, by the title, I am going to trigger some people. Sorry, not sorry. All right. Give me just a moment. Ooh, we got somebody from LA. Gotcha. All right. Hello. Hello, Jesse. Hello, LaShonda. Hello, Jack. Just splitting screens now. Give me just a second. Hello. Let me know where you are streaming from. Give me a shout, and I will give you a shout back. All right. Give me just a second. Probably not going to give the full 5 minutes, but I'm going to give a few minutes anyway. All right. Ooh, South Jersey, San Jose, Fort Worth. Yeah, Rob, I know. Oh, Valencia. Cool. Hello. Glad to see you too. All right. Jeff! Hi, Jeff! Yay! Okay. My usual things are like kind of light and breezy because I have a cherub-like demeanor usually, but this one is going to be kind of dark, so I'm warning you now. So if you guys are having a bad day at work, this is not the video to come and see, okay? Let me see if I can. There you go. Yay! I'm in the center now. Hooray. Good. That's good. Hi, John. Ah, Steve. Yay. Got the big man on campus on my video. I feel important. Okay, I'm going to give a little bit more. Right? Bring it. Yeah, exactly. We have to. We can't ignore it. Okay. Well, we got a good handful of people. I guess I can go ahead and start. Like I said, this video is not going to be for the light of heart. If you guys have, if any of the people that are on my video right now somehow have issues about talking about race, talking about bad things in history, please either find a way to close your mouths and tie your fingers down so you can't type because I will read you. Or just walk away. Just walk away. I won't judge you, okay? And we're discussing race in healthcare, past and present. Overall, why? And let me pull up my notes. Give me just a second. So a couple of things from as far as like race past, we know like people would not be seen at certain hospitals in the past. There's actual like evidence of experimentation being done on Black people in the past with the thank you, LaShonda, please go ahead. Yeah, there's the Tuskegee experimentation that went on until what, the 60s or 70s. And, you know, I think there was reparations in response to that, but not totally sure about that, so don't quote me. There were slave experiments with the start of gynecology. Please look it up if you don't believe me. There is actually also, I think her name is Madame LaLaurie. She was like a French, well, more like a French Creole, not Creole. Anyway, she lived in New Orleans, and she was one of the socialites that owned slaves, and she had a really bad torture situation going on with her slaves, but there's evidence showing that she and her husband might have been involved in the practice of trying to do CSI work, or not CSI, but like a forensic work, trying to do yes. And Henrietta Lacks, thank you for reminding me. Henrietta Lacks, she was a young Black female that died of a terminal illness, and basically pieces of her have basically survived through vaccinations and other research and things like that, and never really got any kind of, you know, credit till like very recently. Oh, hi, Regina. And yeah, it really does. It really does require a step going past this, and that's what my hope, because every time I'm on here, yeah, they stole her DNA. Yeah, every time I'm on here, I try and say, just educate yourself. If you don't think that I'm telling the truth about something, if you don't know about a topic that I'm talking about, please educate yourself, because that's all that I do. That's all that I do is educate myself, and I'm sitting here talking about things that I know and things that I've researched. So that's all that I can do, you know, basically. In the past, you know, a lot of people saw how there were, of course, you know, the Jim Crow laws, there were literal divides and contradictions as to how white people were treated and how people of color were treated. Especially Black people were treated. They had to go to different hospitals and often didn't have quality equipment. Even when it came to Black health practitioners, like there was a video that recently went viral about Black granny midwives. You know, they would, you know, be given the task that is very high in, you know, honor, I guess, in bringing all of these people to life, but they still would be treated as low, you know, as a slave, because that's what they were. And even when slavery to the majority of society was abolished, there were still a lot of things that really kept them from being equal. Even if they had, you know, decades of experience, they were not treated in the same regard. So when we're talking about modern times, a lot of people will be like, you know, those things don't really exist. And there's things, you know, that are in place at most medical establishments that try to keep people from being discriminated against. But there are still things that are in our society that really blur those lines. Like, for example, a lot of doctors still hold racial biases towards their Black patients. So and I've experienced this myself. I've been in doctor's appointments when I was basically getting ready to give birth to my child, and I was going to basically doctor's appointments. The doctor that helped me give birth to my child, you know, he gave me a dirty look. He gave me multiple dirty looks when I was dealing with him, and when I got hurt and had to have surgery on my ankle, doctor up there gave me a dirty look. And this is not like a really high privileged, low Black concentration area. No, this is up in if you're in the 7 cities of Virginia, this was in Newport News. So there's no reason for you to have, you know, any kind of like, oh my God, I don't know how to act around Black people. You know how to act around us. You are choosing to act that way around us. So, you know, I've experienced that multiple times. I still experience that, you know, depending on which doctor I go to. And the only time that I really genuinely felt comfortable was when my cast came off of my ankle. I had a Black doctor, and he said that the doctor that actually looked at me, you know, wrong, didn't do his job right. And I was still in a cast for no reason, even though the other doctor said I needed to be in it for this amount of time. He's like, no, you didn't need to be in it this long. He got it off. You know, I was like, I need this guy in my life, you know, all the time. Unfortunately, now I don't know if you know, he's really far away now. I moved away. But the problem with that is that multiple there are, you know, Black doctors, but they're mostly operating in low income areas, and they're a lot more likely to be in those low income minority areas, and they're really underrepresented in healthcare professions, and especially Black scientists. They're routinely and systematically underfunded. There's still disparities going on within the healthcare system, and they're hitting the Black community the hardest, of course. And the crazy thing is that doctors are sometimes the victims of racism. When you're thinking about, you know, what's going to happen when, you know, these alt-right voters go to the doctor and their doctor, or go to the hospital and their doctor is Black. There you go. But there's because of the past and because of racial things going on, even now, there's a lot of distrust and a lack of confidence in general society among Black people. And that doesn't go away in the medical, you know, in medical conversations. In fact, it might even get worse for some people. Of course, it's a usual thing for us to use each other's medications because we don't want to go to the doctor. And I definitely do that. But there's the problem with that is that when there's a scientific study that needs to get done, often they're not including a good portion of Black people, and that limits the evidence that they need to be able to prove something regarding any positive or negative effect of a medication on Black people. And the problem that I see the most going on is that there's a lot of problems that face Black women that are not being addressed. This is, you know, any kind of emotional issues, any kind of physical issues, you know, and also that adds on an extra layer of pressure to us to be able to talk to our doctors because we don't think that we'll be taken seriously. And it just, I don't need another place where I'm going to be judged. And I actually was talking to my boyfriend about this because I have to, you know, talk to my doctors about getting different, different assisted devices. I hate going to the doctor. I hate it because I don't want anybody looking at me a certain way. I have to project a certain, you know, facade, you know, so I'm not looked at in a bad light. And that's wrong, you know, but that's, you know, that's me, you know, that's not necessarily anybody else around me causing that because most people don't give a shit. But the problem is that sometimes there are issues that come up that, like administrative barriers, government assistant barriers, employment issues, you know, all of those translate into healthcare because either we don't go to the doctor or we go to a free clinic or we go to somewhere that does not have adequate resources. Or if we do have a quality doctor and get quality insurance, the fear still stands. And the only way that that can really be remedied is when we are able to break down those walls within ourselves, but we have to be able to trust the health practitioner that's treating us to be able to do that. And a lot of practitioners don't, you know, really care about that. And that's why a lot of people like myself choose people that closely represent us. So when we're looking for a Black doctor, we're more than likely not going to find it because, like I said, seriously underrepresented in the medical field, or they're not going to be as, you know, available Like I have a black urologist that helps me. She's in all the way like what all the way in Virginia Beach, which is in reference to this area, it's like over an hour and a half away. And, you know, the only other place she works is on the other spectrum of another hour and a half. I'm basically smack dab in the middle of where she works at. And it's crazy. Like she works in this area and works all the way over there. And she's probably the only black female doctor that I've ever seen in my entire life. Not that I haven't seen like in movies or haven't known about any others. It's just what I've seen in real life. You know what I mean? In my going daily life. And you want that connection, and you want like an identity validation, you know, going on when you go to see a doctor, especially about something as serious as pregnancy or a chronic illness. So as far as the why, that really depends on who you're talking to. It really depends on who you're talking about, because some doctors may be dealing with stress regarding their career. They may be dealing with something going on within their personal lives. It may be something, they may be having a really big political bias. That may be just something that they grew up with. Who knows? And honestly, there has to be, I think, some sort of interaction and empathy training to make sure that these issues don't come up, and not just, you know, address the issues when they become an issue, because at that point, that's too late. That's too late. If they get caught, it's too late. You know, that's basically what it means when there's people, you know, sending reports saying that the person is giving them a problem. That's basically them just getting caught. And there are people that aren't getting adequate care because the doctors aren't looking at them further to really go in depth as to figure out what is wrong with them. And, you know, some people, when they experience they can tell that something is not right, or they're not looked at right. And I'm one of these people. I will not go back. If I don't feel comfortable with you, I will not go back, because I'm not about to put my life in your hands, even if it's a simple, you know, just a simple checkup. You can fuck me over and I'd be, you know, getting some kind of blood infection by something that you did. You know, I'm not, not the one. Nuh-uh. And it's not like a fear. It's more so, I don't trust you. I don't trust you to hold me and my life in high regard. And I got too much shit going on for me to go. You know, I have enough going on that's making things hard for my life. I don't need you making it worse. And I don't need you trying to take me out of here. I have enough going on, you know? And so when I'm in a situation where I'm dealing with something like that, it's like, who am I going to put in higher regard? Like, what am I going to put in higher regard? My health or my sanity, which is my health. So it's like, which do I really want to focus on? Some people won't really understand, and that's okay. And if I make people uncomfortable, not really my intention, but, you know, what are you going to do when things come up in real life that make you uncomfortable? You know? And before I hop off of here, I'm going to address some things that I saw last night, and because they do relate to this. I basically looked through the page, the Real Progressive page last night, and looked at a post, and the comments were disgusting. And they were concerning a young man who basically was saying how much of an advocate he was for the Black community as far as Black identity and Black pride, and talking about the opposite, being white identity and white pride. And the comments on there were the saddest I've ever seen in my life. Like not the saddest I've ever seen in my life, but saddest only because it was on our page. They were on the Real Progressives page in the comment section. And yeah, I know we got trolls. I know for some reason we're low on the troll repellent. But here's the thing. If you are a supporter of Real Progressives and you are someone that wants to talk down about people of other races, be it mine, be it anybody else's, exits that way. We don't need anybody with the Real Progressives that is willing to put people and divide each other, because of something as stupid as skin color, culture, religion, gender identity, anything like that. We represent everybody here. We represent everybody, even the people that disagree with us, because it's okay to have difference of opinion. But when you attack me or attack any of our family in the Real Progressives, that's when you got me fucked up. And yeah, I'm getting pissed because it pissed me off last night. And really, most of my videos are really positive. Most of my videos, I try to be light and cheery. And like I said today, I'm probably going to be losing my cherub-like demeanor. So I apologize. However, they were talking about the actual institution of slavery. They were talking about my ancestors, talking about, people in, Black people, modern Black people in general, talking about how they view race. That's fine. View race however you want to view it. View my ancestors however you want to view it. View whatever however you want to view it. Keep your mouth shut. Okay? You need to show some respect to those that are around you. Okay? Treat others how you'd like to be treated, because I'm pretty sure if I started spouting out the mouth against you or against your family, you wouldn't be so happy. Okay? And one of the things that was talked about was basically the breakdown about what racism is, and how not all white people are racist. And let me define it for you, okay? Because again, this is just like my I wrote an article. Feel free to go on the Real Progressives website and read it. It's just like my article about race and women's rights. Okay? When you put a label on something, this is why I hate labels. When you put a label on something, it makes it so it's just that way. So when you're talking about racism, can Black people be racist? Yes. Because racism is discrimination or vilifying of an entire race of people. Institutional racism, there's nothing like that with Black people. Why? Because we can't benefit from institutional racism. The only thing that could possibly, I guess, be considered institutional racism on the part of Black people is when white people talk shit out their mouth or say the N-word, eyes turn to you, and you get your ass whooped. That's it. We can't benefit from racial supremacy, from Black racial supremacy, because it's basically like racism is basically drinking behind someone and getting sick. It leads inevitably to, I guess, you benefiting, but that's not necessarily, it's not necessarily the same thing. Black person can benefit from a minority scholarship or affirmative action, but that's about it. That's not a structure that we put in place. So that's not the same thing as white supremacist society putting shit in place to keep Black people in our place and y'all benefiting from it. So don't talk as if you know what's going on when you don't. And I mean, technically that could be linked in the same way as a woman showing cleavage and getting a drink. It may be because she was flashing cleavage, but at the same time, it's just a happenstance. Because guess what? She's still going to make less than her male counterpart. Same thing. And there's so many crimes against Black people, and they're on another level. And true, there have been things happening to poor people on a major scale. And true, race is a stupid social construct. It is one of the dumbest social constructs. But guess what? We didn't wake up knowing that we were, other than seeing ourselves in the mirror, most of the time, I'm reminded of how I'm Black because of how people treat me. And we didn't promote that. We didn't bring that into power, okay? Y'all put that on us, okay? And the fact that it's stuck, partially to blame, because there are some Black people that will use the race card and promote their own agenda and use their race to do that. Everybody does that in some way, shape, or form, especially because of what, you see that a lot more nowadays. Like, people will say that, oh, well, I can't work because I have this going on, and they're, not really having an issue. It's just, they just want to say it just so they don't have to deal with a lot of major societal problems or having to go outside. So, and there's problems going on like I said, there's problems going on in multiple facets of our society. But when you talk crap about people that you don't really understand and you don't really know about, and then put your identity as some sort of way for someone else to understand what, that you understand us, when it has no real bearing on the conversation at hand, you start to sound like a dumbass. And I'll tell you why. There are many paths leading to where you are. And our paths are different. And you can't say that I know how that path goes because this path brought me here. You can't say whether the path is rocky or smooth because you are only walking on your path. So do us all a favor, shut the fuck up, okay? If you don't like what I'm saying, and you don't like what I'm talking about, and you don't like the fact that I'm telling you to shut the fuck up, bye. Because you need to understand that to be a real progressive, it means to confront the truth about federal economics and about the lies that are keeping us divided in our society and keeping us hating each other. And you're not helping the situation. So if you're going to continue to talk like that, you can leave, because we don't need that kind of negativity here. And I'm bringing up Steve's video last night because this is my moment of me defending my family. And that moment when I saw those comments, it did feel like a threat on me, because anytime I feel a racial attack, it clicks on. Sorry about it. I have the blood of ancestors that have been tortured for centuries in my veins. I highly doubt that I was part of a society that was able to skirt past slavery and just went here on vacation and stayed. I doubt it. So when you talk about, that, that the people that were brought here against their will, chained, and landed on the boat, forced to work for nothing. And if they didn't work or had any sort of behavior problems, they were tortured. And no. And I'm not saying that all people that bought slaves were rude or mean to their slaves. I'm saying that the evidence doesn't really show many. So when you're talking about slavery, you're talking about people that were seen as property. You can treat your chair nice, get some nice polish on it, make it look nice and pretty. And I'm pretty sure when they had company, they made sure that this bruises and stuff were covered up, or that if they, had any sort of thing going on, they were kept in the back, But to say that the majority of, that there were a lot of slave masters that were nice to their slaves is ridiculous. There were people that bought slaves, that abolitionists that bought slaves as a means to an end to be able to free them. However, they operated in secret because they worked with the Underground Railroad, or even outside of the Underground Railroad, they operated in secret because if you were caught doing that, you were punished severely. So to say that it happened wouldn't shock me, but to say that it was the norm, and to say that people that operated plantations were nice to their slaves, they probably were, but it was a means to an end. They were trying to make sure that their slaves were able to be productive. They were. You can treat your cattle nicely, but at the end of the day, if you're a butcher or selling meat, you still got to kill them. Okay, that you still have to promote a product. So, and to say also slavery and the issue of slavery and the institution of slavery is gone. If you're real progressive, you should know that that's a lie. Slavery is not gone. Slavery is still here as far as people being used in different households and in different corporations for slave labor and within the prison system. One is more legal than the other, but the prison system is very legal slave labor. And there are private prisons that definitely use the fuck out of that because that's cheap labor to be able to get shit done and not having to hire outside hands. They may ask you for more money. They're there. Why not use them? Right. But I say all this to say that people with my history and even worse, and people that know more about their background, because I don't know. I was adopted, so I don't really know much about my blood history or my background. But I just learn up on a lot of stuff on my own. A lot of stuff I had to learn on my own. But a lot of people, they know a lot more about their background. They know exactly, or not exactly, but they know, stories that were passed down to them. To the worst thing that you can do when you say that you are trying to be an ally to anybody is to say that, well, what you're saying is kind of not that important. For Black people, the most important thing to us is our identity. And the reason that is because when slavery happened and when the civil rights movement happened and even the bits and pieces that remained up until today, the identity is like the only thing that we have. And if you notice when you're like, hanging out with your black friend or whatever, or you're, walking around and you walk past a black person, they'll nod. That is an African culture thing that's lasted for centuries, because most people want to know that you see them. And that's something I had to actually look up to see if that was like a thing, like if it was like something that was passed down. Yes, it is. There's actually an African name for it, but it's basically saying, I see you. So when people talk like that, they're saying basically that what we dealt with doesn't matter, that for all intents and purposes, your pain doesn't exist. Your life doesn't exist. And if you're going to say that you support something, or you want someone else to support you for something, or you want us all to come together for something, then you have to be able to take yourself out of it. Because guess what, Cupcake? Everything ain't about you. Everything ain't about you, whether you're white, black, anything. Everything ain't about you. We have Muslims still being disrespected openly, and it's okay, ain't it? It's the same shit. So you got to be able to take yourself out of the situation. You got to be able to take yourself out of look at it from somebody else's perspective, and be open to conversation. If you're going to continue to block yourself off, continue to act as if you are superior, especially, then you really need to knock yourself down a couple pegs. Because guess the fuck what? We are all here to learn. We are all here to learn. Even I am. I may be talking like I'm on a high horse, but guess what? I am still learning. I'm still learning. And I'm even learning from people that I didn't think I would be able to learn from. So open yourself up. Be able to take in those lessons. And even thank those that you may not like. If you hate the alt-right or whatever because they harbor some sort of racism, thank them for giving you more of an insight into how important you are. Don't take the hate upon yourself and act as if you have to hate that person, because you don't. Learn more about your enemy. Okay? Learn more about what they are fighting for. I hope that really my talk today is going to at least open up those conversations. And I hope that I really don't see any more conversations like I saw yesterday. I appreciate that I did see a couple of my RP people in there, and a couple of more allies, in there. And but it really it made me sick to my stomach, because I came to Real Progressives because I was hoping to be able to have some place where I could be comfortable. In my Politics Are Making Us Crazy video, I spoke a little bit about my political past, and I really don't have any other place to really talk about, or at least when I first started being really open in my politics, I didn't really have any place to really think that, yeah, it's okay for me to not trust them. It's okay for me to go somewhere else for my political identity. And I found Real Progressives, I found Steve, I found all these wonderful people, and I never thought I would see that. But of course, there's bad apples in every bunch. And I'm not saying that those people are not still viable commodities in the mode of political conversation. I'm saying that they need to seriously take a look at what they are saying, and look at what if somebody said that about me, about who I love, about who I care about my children. Because I have a black child. She may look white because of her white father, but she And I've got, nieces, nephews, family, brother, father, mother, aunts, uncles. Most of them, most of my older family members have experienced racism firsthand. My family, my parents were, in their teens when MLK died. It's crazy to even think about that, but yeah. So I have a different perspective when it comes to race because of that, because I had their, what they told me and what they went through. But just understand, everybody has their own story. Even the people that want to say the worst things about you, call you less than the amoeba on the rat in the gutter. Even they have a story, and even they have, something to give. Even if it's just a thank you for telling me how I don't need to be like you. So if nothing else can, if nothing else comes out of this conversation, at least please take from this that you will open up conversations and you won't be afraid to speak your truth and learn more about the other side and about things that you may not know. Because that's the really reason why I do these videos, is to make sure that people really do take a hard look at who they are, about what they really know about these topics. And as far as the people in those conversations, and like last night, I hope that they really take a hard look at what those biases are having, what effect they're having on the, the energy that they're projecting into their environments. Do they have a lot of negative things coming at them? Probably, because you don't throw negativity out and don't get any of that back. But regardless, if you harbor negativity towards me, towards real progressives, I wish you well. And you guys know I love you. So that's about it for me. Let me go ahead and see if I can scroll through the chat. I'm gonna see if I can put in a video also, like in the comments later or in the description later, about Dr. Joy DeGruy. I love her. She is amazing. She is a oh, my audio is off. I know the feed was choppy. I'm using a different software. Can you guys hear me now? I'm gonna check it later. If I had to, I'll reboot it with a regular video. So yeah. Let's see. Okay. Just scrolling through. It's still doing that? Okay. All right. It's probably because I'm so far away from my computer. Hold on. Let me see if I can get closer. Ugh. Yeah. Usually I'm not so far away from my computer. Is it better now? Yeah, my mic is on my laptop. So if I'm far away from my mic, then it's probably going to do that. And anybody who has a problem with what I was talking about or confused about what I was talking about, please leave. You can send me a message. As long as you're respectful, you can send me a message. And because I see I'm getting a couple, getting a couple people that are not in agreement with me. That's okay. It's okay. If you don't disagree, if you disagree with what I was talking about, that's fine. It's okay. That's what a conversation is made for. So if you Yeah. Okay. All right. If the I'm gonna check the video again when I get off here. So if there's still problems, I'll just reboot it or reload it or whatever. But yeah, I have to get off because I have to prep for my kid to come home now. But if you guys have any questions, comments, any suggestions for other videos that you'd like me to do, just yeah, send me a message, and of course be respectful, and I'll be as respectful as possible as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and head off of here. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.